What's good, Flavor Fest family? We're back with another episode of the Leadership Podcast. I'm super excited today because we got a brother on here from Reach Records. Yeah, the label that has really kind of been the leader of our movement for well over a decade really now, and just putting out great music, great content, raising up a lot of leaders. And so we're going to get into it today, and I'm excited that this guy is actually going to be at Flavor Fest in Tampa this November. He's going to be doing a workshop for artists. So artists that are out there, you definitely want to make your way to Tampa, Florida, and tap in with this guy that's going to be here. And listen, real quick, if you are not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to it, like it as well, and we're going to get this jumped off with my guy from Reach Records. Let's go. Welcome to the Flavor Fest Urban Leadership Podcast, where we talk to innovative artists, creative pastors, church planners, entrepreneurs, and people creating movements. Our goal is to inspire and equip you in ministry, music, and the marketplace. I'm your host, Tommy Urban D. Coloni. Yeah, so we got my guy Dre Hunter.
Hey, how's
the
it going,
podcast.
Tommy?
What's good, bro?
What's going on, brother? Thank you for having me.
Man, it's good to see you, bro. Good to have you. I got to connect with you in the ATL a
Yeah,
couple of months ago at Flavor Fest Atlanta.
yeah.
You did a fire workshop, dropping some
Thank you.
gems for
Thank you.
artists up there. And I was like, you definitely got to come to the main Flavor Fest in Tampa.
Right.
We always have well over 100 artists, sometimes even 200 artists that are in the workshop track. And you were just sharing some great stuff. And you guys have continued to be on the cutting edge of things. Even now, like I said in the intro, like it's been over a decade, really, that Reach Records has kind of been like leading the movement. And the prior era before that for Christian hip hop, it was really kind of like the cross movement was kind of like that top group, that standard. And, Lecrae was actually even on, cross movement records. Reach Records was like underneath of them. And then Reach ended up getting their own distribution deal as cross movement was kind of winding down, and the group itself actually retired. And so then Reach kind of just took that baton and took it to a whole nother level, man. So, man, tell us a little bit about you, though, before we get into all the stuff with Reach, man. Tell us about you and what some of your experience has been like in the music industry.
Man, thank you so much. That breakdown was incredible. I feel like I need to go do some of my research. That was so detailed.
I've been around for a while, bro. I've been in this scene for a minute.
That's great. So yeah, man, I started as I started as a kid in the room, in my mom's room, I'm in my mom's house trying to figure it out. And I was I ended up A&R for R&B group, but it wasn't traditional A&R. It was, one of the guys from the group believed in me, and he gave me an opportunity to help put the project together, and I ended up doing that for about 4 years. We got as far as like Ebro in the morning, and they were originally signed to Atlantic. They got dropped from Atlantic, and then we started working together, and that kind of gave me the skill sets that I needed once I transitioned over to Reach. So I did that for a couple years, and kind of figured out how to maneuver. Um, After that, I was songwriting also, and then I landed a couple records with Ruby Rose. It was a lot of mainstream artists I was working with at the time, and then Ace gave me a call one day and was just like, "Hey, bro, I've been seeing how you've been moving, and you move more like an A&R than a creative. Would you like a job at Reach?" And I took it. I just leaped into it. I knew nothing about the corporate side of the music business. I was all creative at the time, but I just took that leap of faith. I felt like at that time I was kind of at my wit's end. I didn't know what to do next, and God kind of just opened that door up for me, and I walked through it, and it's been a blessing ever since. Now I've been at Reach for 2 years now. Um, I worked on the first project I came in and worked on was the "Don't Worry About It" record with One Day and Portia Love. And then we went into the summer playlist. And then countless other records after that. The 1K Few projects with
Mm-hmm.
the co-project he did with Lecrae, No Church in a While, and then
Mm-hmm.
As I Am, and then Church Clothes 4, and so on and so on.
Man, in the last 2 years, bro, you've been busy.
Yeah, it's
You
been a
just
lot.
dove
It's
right
been a
in.
lot, man.
Yeah, and so I
For sure.
think, I think sometimes maybe even people don't think about, like, but Reach puts out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all really put out a lot of content.
Hmm.
I would say more than anybody else out there. And I think some of that's because of, you guys have got to that level where you have
Yeah.
the team and the resources and interns and everything and systems
Right.
in place to be able to do that. But, a lot of labels might only put out like one thing a quarter, or even
Right.
just maybe like two projects a year, or dropping a few singles here and there. But you guys have something like every time you go to the website, there's like new music that's
Yeah.
just constantly dropping and
Yeah.
constantly coming out. And you mentioned the summer playlist. That's kind of become a staple, the last couple of years, which I think has been dope, because you guys always intentionally put a lot of features on there of people that
Right.
aren't
Right.
even on Reach, but you
Right.
give other artists an opportunity to kind of get seen, to get some
Hmm.
shine. And then some of those artists then that were, on some of those things that eventually might become a Reach record artist too,
Right.
you
Right. Right.
know. So like I even think of like, Limo Blaze, he was
Hmm.
featured on a lot of different stuff on the playlist and with different people. And he was doing stuff with, a lot of different people in CHH. So he was starting to buzz. And I think his sound is like really unique and it's dope. And it's dope to see Reach even like, like I've been following Reach since like 2005, 2006,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
started out, just some more history. So, Lecrae kind of had more of that like Texas Southern hip hop type of
Hmm.
vibe, Tadashi and Trip Lee, Jesus music came out. They were
Yep. Yep.
riding,
Yep.
in that car, and
Yep.
it just kind of
Classic. Yep.
had this new sound that Christian hip hop really, I mean, there was a Grape Tree Records that really kind of had like that Master P New Orleans type of vibe sound to it.
Yep.
Even their artwork looked just like Grape Tree Records. It looked just like No Limit stuff at the time. But this was kind of like the like kind of that Texas sound, that era,
Hmm.
that around 2005, that in Christian hip hop it wasn't really being represented in excellence
Right.
either. And so when that came out, I remember everybody was like, "Yo, what is that?"
Hmm.
And that was
Right.
at a time when Southern hip hop was really starting to be on a rise. And so
Hmm.
going back to the cross movement was like a Philadelphia based group. They were East Coast.
Hmm.
They were East Coast. They were
Yeah.
like a Christian Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
lyrical, and that style, although it was dope and it had its place in the mainstream, with youth at the time, that style was starting to
Right.
fade
Right. Right.
as this other
Yeah.
style was rising. And so the beginning sound of Reach really with those three artists kind of just had that sound. But then as time went on, that began to change. Of course, they signed KB. Then they signed Andy
Hmm.
Mineo, which Andy
Yep.
was from New York, and
Yep.
being a white guy, Italian guy,
Right. Right.
kind of that
Right.
New York lyrical vibe. That
Hmm.
was a kind of a different, like, okay, we're gonna do different stuff. But
Yep.
now even seeing like, you guys got Hovey, guys got Limo Blaze,
Yep.
these different sounds, and
Yeah.
obviously, you guys signing some female artists as well, which
Yeah.
has been,
Yeah.
you know, really dope. And so, yeah, man. So what do you see like as even some of the future stuff of what Reach is going to be doing? Are you guys thinking about continuing? Because I'll just say this before you answer. It seems like urban music, rhythmic
Yeah.
music, is
Yeah.
becoming more and more of a fusion where you see
Right.
so many
Right.
styles together, even on one song. It's
Right.
not as separate as it was 10, 15, 20 years
Right.
ago. You can have R&B in a track and hip hop in a
Hmm.
track and some Spanish music in a track
Right. Right. Right.
and
Right.
like some Afro beat and some pop
Absolutely.
vibe, and like you have all this kind of coming together. And so it's not like, whereas back in the day I think people would have been like, oh, they're selling out. Now they're
Right.
getting
Right.
this and
Right.
that.
Right.
Now it's just
Right.
like kind of naturally the music is
Yeah.
all blending.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think expansion is key. I think now we're kind of ready and looking around for different things to do. Just want to expand the culture as well. I'm big on also like highlighting other genres in the Christian genre so
Yeah,
that we can incubate those talents out there, because there's a lot of people that's talented in different ways, in Latin music, Afro beat,
yeah,
um trap music. And it's just sometimes you have to have the guys who are able to have the machine is able to help incubate the whole entire culture. So I feel like it's our duty to help expand, what I mean, help expand on the Christian genre and music. So yeah, we're definitely like, looking around and seeing other things, and where else can we go as a company? Um, how far can we reach? So yeah, we definitely got some dope things and coming up that'll be. I think the culture is gonna love it. You know what I mean?
that's dope, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the kind of piggybacking off of the thing I was talking about fusion, even like so, I've just been noticing. What do you think about like this? Seems to be more of a trend of a lot of rappers are
Yeah.
now like becoming singers, or there's
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
more
It's
singing in their songs than
right.
there is rap anymore. You
Right.
know?
It's getting to the point where we can't distinguish what's R&B anymore. Like it's a couple times where I've heard like um you know I don't want to say a name, but like certain artists who are obviously rappers, like people, I'll ask somebody like, what do you think about their music? What would you call this? And it's like, oh, that's R&B music. And it's like
Mm,
it's now it's kind of like we have to. I'm more of the type like, let's just go with the flow. If this is what it is, then how do we come in and add our touch on it? You know what I mean? So I'm embracing it. Like I love
mm-hmm,
everything that's going on. Like I love I especially love melodic the melodic the Christian R&B genre that's happening
mm-hmm,
right now, and like the explosion. Shout out Stevie Rizzo. Um, and then you have it's an artist named Steady that's really dope, that I listen to a lot. But yeah, I love the multiple genres that's happening. I love the Latin fusion. Shout out Alexander, that's a dope artist as well in the
mm-hmm.
Latin culture. But yeah, it's so much that's going on, man. Like I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I even think of your artist Hovey, which
Yeah,
Hovey, like, some of his most popular songs, like even the altar song, like it's kind of like a
yeah,
worship song. I
right.
mean, there's part of it where he actually raps in it, but
Hmm.
it's like straight up like you see, like he has lots of reels that went viral,
Yeah,
and it's that section
yeah.
of the song usually where he's with, the other dude singing what's his name?
Hmm.
Forrest.
A Forrest Frank. Yep.
Yeah. And I never even heard of that guy. I heard of him
Mm,
through Hovey, but then I checked out
yeah,
his IG. And I'm like, oh, that guy's popping. Now he's
yeah.
doing stuff with a lot of other people. He was already doing stuff before the Hovey thing, obviously,
Right,
but
right,
it's cool how we see even people are doing songs with other people
right.
and
Yeah.
genres are blending. And yeah, there's a group that I even like kind of got into in the last year or so called King's Kaleidoscope. I don't know if you
Oh
heard
yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Those guys are dope. Yeah,
yeah,
I,
they're
I
like
was
a
in a session one day, and the guy just came to me like, "You ever heard of King's Kaleidoscope?" I'm like,
yeah,
"Nah, I never heard of them." But then I seen what they were doing. I'm like, "Oh, they tearing it up right now, man." So,
yeah, bro. It's like
yeah.
a live band, but it's very rhythmic,
Hmm.
soulful. They've had some features of some different Christian hip hop artists that have done some
Yeah.
stuff with them. Some of their stuff they use samples, and it's just different. It's like a fusion of
Right.
like can't even put it in like a box. And they actually performed at Smokefest,
How are
the
they
Beaver
live?
Tribe.
What's their live show look like?
Oh, live is crazy. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it in person. I'm trying to
Yeah.
go because they are
Yeah.
coming to Tampa this weekend, but I went to get a ticket the other night and it's sold out. It's at a
Oh
small
wow.
spot down in Ybor
Yeah.
City in the
Okay.
club district. And I think the venue might only fit like 300 people, but it's sold out.
Okay.
But
Oh
I
wow.
do have a connect. I have a guy that
Right.
is friends with the lead singer, and so he's trying to get a couple VIP passes.
Yeah.
So I might be able to show up.
Yeah.
But I watched some of their live stuff on YouTube, and it's
Yeah.
super dope. They got like two drummers. They got a horn, couple guys playing horns,
Wow. Yeah.
violin. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of energy on the
Yeah.
stage. But again, very rhythmic. That's what pulls me in. You know,
Mhm.
I'm a hip hop kid. I'm rhythmic. I play
Right.
drums and
Right.
stuff. So if it doesn't have like a dope rhythm or beat to it, I might not vibe with it as much. But
Right. Right.
um,
Right. Right.
so you see a lot of rhythmic music is kind of blending all together. Even like you think of, KB's, KB's song, Danza, Dance,
Mm-hmm.
taking that remix of I Will
Yeah.
Dance Like David Dance from, Hezekiah, and then just, man, putting that whole spin on it with like a reggaeton beat,
Right.
and to see those things all being fused together. And it's dope, man. It's dope to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, it's amazing what's going on now. I feel like this these artists are more fearless. I say as far as even when it comes to who they collaborate with, what I mean? I
Yeah,
feel like they're
yeah,
more collaborative and they're even more fearless now as how they
that's good. The
explore their
lines are
musical
blurred.
tastes. Yeah. Yeah, but it I feel like it needs to be that way for growth, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so I embrace it fully. I know whenever we working on the summer playlist, my thought is what's the most shocking collaboration we can put together? Like what two
Mm.
worlds can we put together? One of those things were
What were some
Limo
of your
Blaze,
favorites?
Limo Blaze and Angie Rose. So we did a record with them
Yeah,
two, and I when we were coming up with it, I was like, Limo, I want you to go full. It's correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Narrowbook, which is um the African language. And I
yeah,
was like,
that
I
sounds
want you
right.
to, right? Hey, forgive me if I'm wrong. I want to come in the comments like you got that wrong, buddy. But yeah, so yeah, I was like, I want you to go out. I don't even want the fans to understand what you're saying. And then with Angie, I said I want you to go full Spanish on the record and
Yeah,
just
and
collab
Angie's
and put
super
those
diverse because she can do
right.
Spanish, English. She can rap like crazy. She can
Exactly.
sing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
she's
And
a fusion herself.
and that's the beauty of it. And we even got Scooty Wop on that record, and he did the hook in English. So it was like now we have three different languages on this one record.
Ooh, yup.
You know what I mean? And the record is still doing good. So it's just I love just shocking the fans and figuring out ways. How can we get somebody that's a legend in there, a Derek Minor with Hovey, or you know what I'm saying, something that
Mm-hmm.
people are. I feel like when I'm creating, it's always about moments. Like how do I create a moment for the fans and not just let's make a song and put it out. No, how do we make a moment that people can live with forever? Because I know when I was coming up, some of my favorite music was from like moments that I could remember. You know what I mean? When certain albums drop, I remember seeing the visual of that moment more than even listening to the album. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's
Yeah,
important for fans to have that same experience.
that's dope, man. So, what would you say to some artists out there that are tuning in right now and they're like,
Yeah.
"Yo, this is the A&R from Reach Records,"
Yeah.
and like, what should I do as an indie artist? Like, what's the most important thing that somebody like you in your shoes would be looking at so I could get noticed?
Content. So good quality content. If you put out your music on DSPs and then flood the timeline with great content, go get a camera, go get a professional camera, and shoot your content with that camera, and that's simply it. And then just flood the timelines and don't stop and don't quit and continue to release. I always say make a main plan, create your main plan. Anything that happens after that is side missions, right? If you
That's
end
good.
up getting a show, if somebody asks you to come to Paris to come record with them, that's still your side mission. Come up with how many records you're going to release this year, and that's your main
Hmm.
goal. Get those records out to the end of the year, no matter what happens, and create content around those records. And I'll find you on social medias if you start doing well. And that's literally every artist that you've seen at a Reach camp or you've seen on a project has been found off of social media by doing content. So if you don't put your content out there, you're not able to be discovered.
That's good, man. Yeah, because I think a lot of artists just felt like, man, let me get in the studio, let me drop a hot song, put it
Yeah,
out, and then see what happens.
right.
You're
And
gonna
they sit
see
back and
you're gonna
yeah,
see not much happen. You
not
gotta
nothing
be
happened.
on
It's
social media. You gotta be
exactly
putting out content, talking about it, being
right.
creative. Uh, you even look at somebody like a Hovey who has
Yeah,
done multiple reels of this same like track, but different
right.
video
Yeah,
visuals for it, and
mm-hmm.
it continues to do well and keeps climbing.
Right.
Even recently was looking at Ruslan's timeline and noticed, because Ruslan, he's more known for being a YouTuber now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he still does dope music. And he recently put out this one, almost like it was a song slash. It kind of almost reminded me of spoken word type of vibe, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he put out multiple reels of him doing that same
Yeah.
actual piece, but
Mm-hmm.
in different locations, different outfits, different like. And he kept, if you look through his timeline, it was just peppered with that.
Right, right,
So
right,
it's
right.
hitting different people because the reality is, with social media, when you put one post up, like the algorithm's only going to let a certain amount of
Right,
people
right,
see it, a certain amount of
right.
your followers even see it. And
Mm-hmm.
then you look at the insights, then there's also a certain amount of people that are not your followers that are
Right.
seeing it. So if you put out, oh, I don't want to put that, I already put that song out, or I already
Mm-hmm.
put, no, you should put out different versions of it multiple times.
Right.
And I would say, so that's really good. And I would say too, like, find ways to engage the
Absolutely.
fans, get people to engage and comment. Me personally, I'm a pastor, I'm an artist too, but I'm not doing music as much as I was. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm always trying to find ways to just, encourage people as a pastor
Right,
and
right.
engage people. And so I started doing these prayers on my
Mm-hmm.
Instagram the last couple of months, and my engagement has just went crazy.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a reel that just hit 500,000 views like
Right,
yesterday,
right.
and
Oh wow, congrats on that. Yeah.
yeah, thank you, man. Like 26,000 comments
Wow.
on
Yeah.
that one reel. And a lot
Yeah.
of people are just saying amen or putting a prayer hands emoji or
Yeah.
putting a prayer request. But, if you can find ways to get people to engage with whatever your content is, it
Mm-hmm.
pushes you up on the algorithm. And then
Right.
obviously, whatever platform it is, whether it's IG or TikTok or YouTube, those platforms love it when people are commenting and they're liking, and
Mm-hmm.
it pushes it up even more because they're like, oh, this is a piece of content that
Right.
people are enjoying. They're going to stay on our platform longer, and that's just the whole way that it works. But as artists and content creators, you can use that to your advantage to say, man, how can I get this exposed to more and more people? Because the more and more people that engage with it, the more that the algorithm's going to push it to people that are not
Exactly.
following you. And then your followers, continue to grow. And then
Right.
people like Dre are going to notice you. They're going to be like,
Right.
who is this
Right.
person
Right.
with all
And
this
that
engagement?
right. And I can add a tip that I read an article was talking about how Spotify work, and every
Yeah,
28
talk
days
about it.
Spotify repopulates its monthly listeners. So a strategy that new artists could use to start growing their numbers is every 28 days release some type of music. Like you have to play
That's
into the
good.
algorithm. Back in the day it was radio. Before that, it was live shows. Back in like the Motown
Mm-hmm.
days, you had to go and you had to do live shows to get in
You
front
got to
of
do the
people. So
circuit.
exactly. So now the circuit is social media. So we have to just, adapt with the times. So the thing is, so monthly listeners every 28 days. So a great strategy, and this is just a theory that I had, and I was like, this might be dope. But every 28 days, maybe release something uh on your Spotify or your DSP. So it say you release a song and then release the instrumental or release a sped up version just to
That's good.
continue to feed the algorithm so
Yeah.
that it keeps going up while you're working on your other projects or anything. Like the thing I think now is important is not going ghost. Don't go ghost on
Mm-hmm.
social media. Don't go ghost on DSPs. It's just continue to release and find ways to release. So if you're a bilingual artist, say make an English version and a Spanish version of your record,
Mm-hmm.
and every 28 days release the English version and then the Spanish version, and then move on to the next
Mm.
record. Another thing is, so the way that the monthly listeners work is you retain you so your streams go up based off of the amount of monthly listeners you have, but your monthly listeners go up based off of a new audience. So every time you get in front of a new audience, you receive monthly listeners. So the key is finding ways to get in front of a new audience. So that may
Mm.
be getting a collaborating with an artist you never collaborated with. Maybe you collaborate with King's Kaleidoscope. Now you're
Mm-hmm.
in front of their audience, so that'll help raise your monthly listeners. Maybe getting on, the Urban Leadership podcast and doing an interview that'll put you in front of new people. So it's things like that you got to kind of strategize your career. You
Yeah.
can't just doing it on accident and just kind of letting it flow. Like you have to use God's wisdom to also strategize uh and get into and use strategies to take your career into where you want it to go. You know what I mean? So
That's good, man.
yeah, that's just some key things I've been thinking about this year.
No, that's some real good stuff. I know you guys at Reach are definitely doing that. You're putting stuff out every 28 hours. You guys are dropping new stuff. But I think
Man,
one thing I caught that you said that I think is important for artists too is you said drop the instrumental.
yeah,
People like to listen to instrumentals
yeah,
sometimes, number one. But number two, those instrumentals then can pop up when people are looking to put music to a reel or a short
right,
or a
right,
TikTok.
right,
And if your music starts getting chosen a lot, it can move up on those
exactly.
algorithms and charts. And then you got a whole bunch of new people that
Hmm.
are discovering you because they're watching somebody else's content, but your music
Right,
is in the background. And
exactly.
yeah, I know even during the over the years, some of my music I released it to licensing companies even like years ago, and lots of people would discover me and my music through it being on a YouTube video. I was with
Right.
this it was called Rumblefish. It was the first
Mm,
licensing thing that YouTube had back around 2009, 2010.
mm.
And like you weren't allowed to put music on YouTube unless you used this catalog that they had. It had
Oh
about
wow.
30,000 songs in it, but I was actually in that as one of the first people. And man, I was on like over 20,000 YouTube videos at one
Wow,
point
wow.
in time. And some of them were just, with 6 views, but
Yeah.
some of them had like over 1 million views. And people were then tapping into all my other stuff and my videos. And it was really cool. And it was a nice check that I got every quarter. For
Hey,
probably
that
about
never
three or
hurts.
four, 3 or 4 years there, it was like I could
Yeah.
expect that about $1,000 or so every quarter. It
Right,
was it was
right, right.
it
That
was
that
nice,
never
man.
hurts.
It was nice. So
Yeah.
artists, there's lots of other opportunities out there with sync, and so talk about
Yep.
that really quick because you guys do really well with
Oh yeah, yeah.
placing your music
Amazing.
on different things. What would be
Yeah. So
some
we got
advice for that?
definitely. So I'm not really I don't have a lot of knowledge on the sync world. We have a sync department. His name is
Yeah, y'all
Logan.
got a whole nother department for that.
Yeah. So so Logan kind of handles it, and from just from conversations with him, I feel like sync is you reaching out to the right people, reaching out to those sync uh the word is leaving me, but just reaching
Curators,
out.
the sync
Curators,
curators.
sync curators, there we go.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think sometimes I think with me in my experience of connecting with people, uh, I would say it's more simple than you think. Sometimes it's a LinkedIn, maybe going to LinkedIn and finding these people, and sometimes it's a DM, but just looking for the right people. I know for me, I've done well in the sync world, both at reach and both outside with the music I've done through a friendship. I have a friendship with uh um she's a music director at Zeus Network, and she's been
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot. And we've been knowing each other for years, and I see that with her, it's kind of like, hey Dre, you're a great talent. I just love working with you. You do easy business, and she just sends me opportunities. So I was just blessed with a great network, and so I mean, to give advice to people is network and find those people that's in that field, in the movie field. I don't know much about it, but I know that networking can take you far. So that's how I land a lot of
Yeah,
my scenes, through that.
yeah. Personal relationships, networking,
Yeah,
man, it's so key. And so speaking of that, like you are gonna be in the
yeah,
flesh, in person,
yep,
not virtually like
yep,
this, but you're gonna be there in the flesh, in the building at Flavor Fest in Tampa, coming up November the 2nd through the 4th,
yep, yep,
and you're gonna
yep.
be doing one of the workshops in the artist track. So just give people like just maybe the 30,000 overfoot view. What are you gonna be talking
Got you.
about in that workshop?
So 0 to 50, how to start your career as an artist is what I'm going to be talking about, and basically just give you a breakdown, step by step plan on an executable plan on how to start your career as an artist. So this is going to be for those guys who you may be an overthinker, you may not know what to do next, or so things like that. I want to kind of help and give gems and uh doable actions um after the class. I want you to be able to leave the class and go do it
Mm.
immediately. Or do it while you're in the class, or however however you feel. So yeah, that's the goal plan. I'm still putting it together. I'm still working out kinks. There's some things, resources I want to give, as far as like websites. It's websites to get on the radio in
Mm-hmm.
UK, Holy Culture Radio. Signing up for that.
Yeah.
Reaching out for interviews, reaching out for podcast interviews, collaborating with other artists, what they do for you. So it'll be a pretty good breakdown. Hopefully, one or two people in there could walk away and I see them, doing amazing things in the future. That's the goal.
That's good, man. So we excited to have you. So artists out there, you don't want to miss it. We got a fire lineup of speakers that are going to be in the artist track at Flavor Fest this year. So Dre, how can everybody find you, man? What's the easiest way to tap in with you, to send you a DM on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll make it easier. So you can send me a DM on Instagram, at Dre That's You. Yeah, just Dre That's You on Instagram. Everything spelled regular.
All right, dope. And what's last question, man? What's the most exciting thing you're working on right now?
Right now, so we're doing the 1K Few project. He did a whole project with Zaytoven, a legend in the
Okay.
trap world.
Yeah.
So we got a whole project with Zaytoven. I'm super excited to get it out there in the world, and I think the rollout is going to be incredible also. So
Is that the God Loves Atlanta?
pray for Atlanta. Yep.
Yeah, oh, Pray for Atlanta. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen some of the
Hey,
promo
we might
for
have to switch the title though. I like that title.
that. That's good. That's good, man. Yeah, we
Yeah.
love 1K. 1K Few came with us to New York City when we did
Mm.
Flavor Fest for the first time this year.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
when we came to Atlanta, he was there as well. And
yeah.
so he's been here to Tampa to Flavor Fest many times over there. He was here last year in
Oh wow. Yeah,
2022. So yeah, we
yeah,
got a lot of love for 1K.
yeah.
Show
I
love,
gotta
show
let you.
love,
I
show
gotta let you
love.
hear the records, man. When I come out there.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
man. Look forward to it. When is that supposed to be dropping?
So we're looking at dates next year. We're not quite sure yet, but
Okay.
yeah.
You got to put them in that
Singles
calendar
coming
because you're
soon.
doing the every 28
Every
hours.
28 day, every 28 minutes, every.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, bro, we're super looking forward to having you, man, at Flavor Fest this year. I know it's going to be your first time to come down. It's like a
Yep.
big family reunion. We got people
Absolutely.
that come from all over the country that are doing ministry in the urban context, whether they're pastors, artists, youth pastors, church leaders. Some people run nonprofits. It's just some people are entrepreneurs. And really, like, all of us in this space, we're entrepreneurial anyways. We got that kind of flowing through our veins to do what we do. But yeah, man, you're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a big family reunion, big party.
Yeah,
So,
I love it, man. Thank you for inviting me out too. I really appreciate that.
Definitely, man. Well, hey, I always ask people to do this. I'm gonna put you on the spot, man. If you could just say like a quick prayer, I'm gonna ask you to specifically pray for the artist that might be watching this, and just that God will guide them through their career, man. So just go ahead and close this out real quick.
Let's do it. Lord, right now, I just ask you to come into this space, Lord, and just bless these artists with clarity, Lord. Bless these artists with prosperity, Lord. Continue to give them grace and favor through their walk with you, Lord. Just open their eyes. Let them understand that it's all about loving you and loving your neighbors, Lord. That you're opening all these doors for us. In your almighty name, in Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Y'all make some noise for my guy, Dre Hunter. Trying to get my sound effects to go, man. I don't know, they're not working, bro.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
So anyways, man, yo, it was great having you on here today.
Yes,
FlavorFest family, tap in at flavorfest.org. That's where you can get the details to get your conference registration, your concert tickets if you're just coming to the concert. But man, I tell you, come to the whole thing. Come to the conference, because the concert tickets are included. Lunch is included. You can break bread, fellowship with some people. We got such an amazing weekend planned. So flavorfest.org has all the details. We got everything up there, workshop titles, times, who's performing, what night of the concert. We got the Rapzilla Beat Battle, Rapzilla 16-bar challenge on Friday, and the Track Star Beat Battle on Saturday. We're doing a big Love Our City outreach on Saturday afternoon. We're doing a fashion show Thursday night on the opening session. We have a mural festival happening throughout the weekend with about a dozen of some of the dopest mural artists on the planet that are flying in from all over. They're going to do like a 250-foot wall on the west side of our building. So there's going to be a big collaboration of art and Jesus and family. It's going to be a great weekend, so tap in. Well, family, until next week, yo, we'll see you. God bless.
All right, brother.
Thanks for tuning into the Flavor Fest Urban Leadership Podcast. Stay connected with us on social media at UrbanD813 and at Flavor Fest. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace and God bless.